Week's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. You can expect a sunny day with highs maybe in the 50s. Michael with a check on your forecast.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit to get there, but clean Skywatch Storm Tracker, as temperatures sit right now anywhere from about 29 degrees throughout southeast Kansas, right at the 32-degree mark. And there we go, we flip right just like that. A whole bunch of 29s. That's going to be our dominant early number. Right now in Joplin, we are looking at a wind chill of 23. So it is got a little bite in it with that northeasterly wind as we get as low as 20, able to stay out of the teens. Now when we look at the national perspective, really kicking everything off to the east. We're going to have a couple days of sunshine ahead of us as the high pressure forces everything right along that dividing line of the colder temperatures and the warm Gulf moisture. You can tell it's a good thunderstorm line that they have right there for this first day of March. Isn't that something else to believe that we've already turned the calendar? Our weather trend is going to put us with sunny skies and high 40s, low 50s throughout our 7-day forecast. Really eyeballing Wednesday as far as what's going to happen there, or Tuesday, I should say. What we're looking at is Gulf moisture working in. The interesting thing about it is the farther south that you go, the colder it's actually going to be. In elevated areas could see a little bit turnover. So not widespread by any means. Like I said, you're going to have to be at a pretty good elevation to see any snowflakes. But after that, we're right back into the 60s and going to be able to cruise that all the way into the weekend.
Another great weekend, it looks like.
Yeah, the weekend's going to be delightful. Great weekend as well for the polar plunge. Got a little bit spoiled out there. Special thanks to Chris Moore and everything that he does, especially the Pittsburgh Police Department. The police department on its own raising more than $13,000 for Special Olympics.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, officials with Spire say they've reconnected natural gas to a majority of homes in Carl Junction. The energy company posted door hangers with next steps for customers they were unable to reach. Shutdown comes after firefighters say a gas line exploded on the south side of Carl Junction during what Spire says was a pipeline inspection process. One worker was injured in the incident. An Oklahoma power company paid more for fuel during the winter storm than they did all through last year. The average annual power cost for Oklahoma Gas and Electric is around $600 million. But the price to keep Oklahomans warm last week was nearly $1 billion. Southwest Power Pool, who manages the state's power grid, says most of that cost stemmed from not having enough natural gas. That extra cost will likely be passed on to consumers. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission is also looking into a proposal from OG&E to spread out recovery costs over the course of 10 years. If approved, officials say it would keep fuel cost related increase to less than 10% for an average residential customer's bill. State of Missouri will have to pay $140,000 after a failed bid to shut down the state's lone abortion provider. St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports a request by Planned Parenthood for legal fees as well as $6,600 spent on an expert witness was approved. Back in October of 2019, a 4-day trial highlighted the state's efforts to close the facility by denying it a license to operate based on allegations it had botched abortions. May 22nd will mark 10 years since a violent tornado tore a path through the heart of the city of Joplin. And this year, organizers of the Joplin Memorial Run wanted to offer a course preview, but there will be some changes due to the construction of the new Harry M. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Organizers have changed the starting point of the race to Cunningham Park.
I think a lot of people want to commemorate the anniversary of the tornado and just the lives that were lost, and then the way the city came together afterwards. So it's something that a lot of us do just to honor the people that died in the tornado.
And there are several stages to the run, the first of which will start at 6:30 a.m. For anyone looking for a unique new hobby, axe throwing may be just the thing. That's what the women's group from the Light in Joplin was up to yesterday. One member, Rachel Grindle, says she wanted to try it out to see if it would help clear her mind.
I think so, right? I mean, if you've got any angst within you, you can imagine whatever that is on the target and just do your best to throw that axe and hit it. And hopefully that'll release some anger and tension and all.
Grindle also says her group has been trying to stay connected during the pandemic, and this was a good way to do that while staying safe and supporting a local business. It's 5:07.
And sunrise 6:49 on the bus stop forecast. Clear and sunny start for the kiddos. It is pretty cold out there. Wind chills ranging as low as 20 degrees right now. Northeasterly breeze, just 5 to 10 miles per hour. Nice thing is the weather trend is going to be able to put us up into the low 50s later on this afternoon. Great start to the month of March. 7-day forecast do see some chances for precipitation on Tuesday. That's going to be down to the south. And when we say mix, you're going to have to be up in an elevated area for it. And don't worry, it's not going to be a widespread. Beautiful weekend ahead. March going to put us in high 50s, low 60s.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Missouri Southern and Emporia State face off on the Diamond this weekend. We'll have highlights from the game. Plus, officiates say the U.S. is far from achieving herd immunity, and a new surge in cases could be on its way. And highlights from the socially distanced Golden Globes ceremony last night. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Over the weekend, Missouri Southern Lions looking for a series sweep against Emporia State. For the Lions, they sent Will Bossinger out to the mound, and we're going to pick it up all the way in the 6th inning. That's when Grant Harris doubles down the left field line. Here comes Dexter Swims. You're not going to catch him. That's his 2nd run scored of the day. Still in the 6th, Joe Kinder. Another double. Deep to left field. Kinder plates 2 more. Then in the 8th, Troy Gagan. His turn for a double. Shoots it down the line. Jordan Fitzpatrick scores. And Bossinger still in the game to close it out. He strikes out the final 3 Hornet batters to win it. Bossinger, 14 total strikeouts, and sets Missouri Southern's all-time strikeout record. Congratulations to him. 7-zip, complete game shutout for the Lions win.
It feels great. It's not something you never really think of coming in. It just kind of happens over time, and it's credit to everyone here, starting from a strength coach to a pitching coach to all the players involved. I felt really good. I mean, from last year, this was just personal for our team to come out here after we got our butt kicked last year. So we wanted to make a statement out there and show them that we were for real.
Oh, Will Bossinger right there, number 1. It's a heck of a career. Number 2, that's brutal honesty and a soundbite. You gotta love that. 5-0 Pitt State Gorillas finishing out a road series against Fort Hays State. Took both games of Saturday's doubleheader, but on Sunday, PSU got 2 runs in the 9th. Fort Hays State holds on and wins it 11-10. However, that is Pitt State's only first loss of the season. Pittsburgh State softball closing out the Washburn Invitational. Split Saturday's games, giving the Gorillas an early season record of 2-4. Game 1, PSU up against good old-fashioned UMSL, Missouri St. Louis. Gorillas lose a close one, 4-3. Game 2, well, you know what? You're going to lose by 1, you're going to win by 1. Grab the win 5-4. Now the Gorillas heading back home after picking up 2 wins from the weekend, and they'll be back on the diamond this week. Gorilla women on the basketball court closed out the season with a win against Newman on Saturday. Finished with a regular season record of 14-8. Kaylee DeMitz, team high 25 points to lift her team over the Jets. That shot you just saw right there, that was the one that got DeMitz her 1,000th career point. Maya Williams on senior day had 10 points. The Gorillas are going to head into the MIAA tournament as the 6th seed. Hit the road to face Nebraska Kearney. Tip-off Wednesday night.
We're ready for the 2nd season. You know, the new season is always March Madness, and so we got this last win, and we're ready to, go, put our best foot forward. We will be ready. We will be prepared, and I just am really excited for this group to have this opportunity ahead of them.
Missouri Southern also finished the season on a high note as the Lions won back-to-back games this week and did so against 2 teams seated higher than them for the MIAA tournament. They beat Washburn and Central Oklahoma. That gives the Lady Lions the last spot in the tournament with the 8th seed. They'll face regular season title winners Fort Hays State in the quarterfinal round.
They stepped up to the challenge. We talked all week about doing the different things of competing, playing physical, and I thought our kids did a great job, both offensively and defensively. Fort Hays, who's a very good team, but if we can come out and compete with that type of energy and maintain that, type of energy for 40 minutes, we'll give them a ball game and we'll take our chances.
Wrestling in Kansas finished up on Saturday. Chinook Blue Comets finished second in Class 4A, while Fort Scott placed third. Here are some notable finishes. Fort Scott gets 3 champs: Colby Burchett, Jacob Stinnett, and Malachi Van. At 145 pounds, Ty Leedy brings home a championship for Chinook. Braden Dillo, also a state champ for the Blue Comets, at 182 pounds. Field Kinley, a.k.a. Coffeeville's Brady White, at 285 pounds. Corbin White out of Jayhawk Lynn. He wins at 106 pounds. And 152 pounds, Bryce Eck wins a state championship for Uniontown. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, coming up just short of a royal decree.
A royal call to get vaccinated. I'm Ian Lee with what the Queen thinks about folks rejecting the shot.
And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Weather Almanac on this March 1st as we approach 5:17 on this Monday morning. Hard to believe we're already into March, and we're actually going to be right on par for what we anticipate this time of year. We're a little bit above our precipitation ever since January 1, and with it being the 1st of March, we call it meteorological spring. Now, actual astronomical spring, of course, that doesn't start until the 22nd. When we get the equinox, but this kind of reset our precipitation and see what we get for the next 3 months. 29 in Joplin, 27 in Parsons. Let's roll a pair of 29s in both Fort Scott and Nevada as the wind now moves in from the northeast almost. Look at that sweeping motion. I'll give you an idea. Well, you see that swirl right there? That'll be an indicator of a low pressure system, but really all the higher winds stay down to the south of us. We did pick up a recent gust, though, of 20 miles an hour in Joplin, and that's given us wind chills as low as the 20s, able to escape the teens. Not that it makes that much of a difference, but just wanted to point that out. Sunrise over Joplin, 6:49 on the bus stop forecast. Mostly sunny and clear start, and almost 40 degrees there by the 9 o'clock hour. Nary a cloud in the sky, really no worries to begin our month as the thunderstorm activity stays down to the south of us. They're getting a real good line right here. Look at that. Stretches all the way from New Mexico, past the Mississippi, up to the northeastern portion of the United States. Geographically speaking, that is pretty impressive as far as the amount of distance that covers. Sunny skies. Overnight, this is kind of interesting. We're going to see a little shift of the wind as it's going to work in from the south. Now, usually that's an indicator of some warmer temperatures. Now, Future Track is really going to want to keep everything almost out of our view here. But one thing I do want to point out, though, if we get a little northerly shift from that precipitation through northwest Arkansas, we very well could see a little bit of it try to flip over for northeast Oklahoma and southern southwest Missouri. Certainly not going to be a lot. We kind of get a better view right here. So this is that line I'm talking about. If any of this decides, I want to push a little bit this way with all that Gulf moisture, you can see a little hump right there with those warmer temperatures, because that's where we see that thunderstorm activity. But I wanted to point that out because on the 7-day forecast, that's why we just hang with that 20% chance right there. And when we call it a mix, it's going to have to really be an elevated area for anything to flip over. And at the same point in time, the majority of the 4 states isn't going to see anything at all. Then for the middle of the week, back into the 60s. As we head into the weekend, very delightful. Looking at mid 50s on Friday and then, high 50s, low 60s there on Saturday and Sunday. Pretty much hard to beat for a first week of March. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. The buzz leading up to Sunday night's Golden Globe Awards was about the nominated movies and TV shows and the fact that there were no black people involved in the nominating. David Daniel with highlights from the socially distanced ceremony.
Even with stupid things, inclusivity is important, and there are no black members of the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Hosts Tina Fey in New York and Amy Poehler in Los Angeles began the 78th Golden Globe Awards chiding the HFPA, which promised a more inclusive future. Then gave the night's first 2 awards to black actors, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah and John Boyega for Small Axe.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I think you made a mistake.
No mistake, Jodie Foster won her first competitive Golden Globe in nearly 30 years, Best Motion Picture Supporting Actress for The Mauritanian.
Thank you, CBC, for making the show in Canada. Thank you, a Pop Network for... Seriously.
Catherine O'Hara's husband, Bo Welch, played her off as she accepted Best Actress in a TV Musical or Comedy for Schitt's Creek, which also won Best TV Series Musical or Comedy. Also winning a pair of big awards, Nomadland, Best Motion Picture Drama and Best Director for Chloe Zhao, just the second woman to win that award. Borat subsequent movie film, Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, and Best Actor for Sacha Baron Cohen, and The Queen's Gambit, Best TV Movie or Limited Series, and Best Actress in that category for Anya Taylor-Joy.
What? Thank you so much.
Emma Corrin's win kicked off a huge night for The Crown. She, Josh O'Connor, and Gillian Anderson all won Golden Globes for the series, which was also named Best TV Series Drama.
I love all of you so much, and just
Andra Day was overcome, winning Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama for The United States versus Billie Holiday. And possibly the night's most emotional moment came when Chadwick Boseman's widow accepted his award for Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
he would thank God. He would thank his parents. He would thank his ancestors for their guidance and their sacrifices.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Our question to you this morning is if you pay attention to award shows and the best movies or shows you watched this past year. You can let us know on Facebook and take part in our Insta poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, numbers of COVID-19 deaths and hospitalizations continue to decline across the country, but the numbers of new coronavirus cases remain high, and the U.S. is far from herd immunity, fueling concern for what could be another wave of cases driven by coronavirus variants. Mandy Gaither has more.
In the U.S., it's a war of numbers. The daily COVID-19 death rate expected to slow in the coming weeks after more than a month of declining cases and hospitalizations. But new cases across the country remain high, 72,000 new cases each day the past week on average, according to Johns Hopkins University. Even with vaccines, the country is still nowhere near herd immunity levels, and experts continue to send out a warning another case surge is likely on its way, fueled by virus variants.
Scientists estimate that the B.1.1.7 variant will be the predominant form of the virus in the United States by mid to late March.
That's the highly contagious variant first identified in the UK, now confirmed in at least 45 states. But other variants are concerning too. One scientists are keeping their eyes on in California. Another variant, two separate teams of researchers say they've found in New York City and other areas in the Northeast.
The scary thing about this new variant is not only does it look like it could potentially be easier to spread, but it looks like the new variant has also adapted ways in order to kind of evade our immune system.
To address the growing threat, the CDC is teaming up with public and private labs for more genomic sequencing to better identify the variants.
We need to ramp up our vaccination efforts. If we get everyone vaccinated, we will be protected. The vaccines are going to protect against the new variants. They may not protect as well, but they still will help overall.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Although there's no evidence people immunized with either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine have less protection against the variants, both companies have said they started looking at ways to account for evolving mutations. A new report in the journal Pediatrics finds high schoolers who abuse opioids are more likely to have suicidal tendencies. Researchers analyzed data from a 2019 survey of more than 13,000 teens. They found about 33% of those who had misused opioids attempted suicide that year, compared to only 6% who did not abuse prescription drugs. Researchers now believe sleep apnea is related to an increased risk of cognitive impairment and Alzheimer's disease. The study from the American Academy of Neurology examined patients with cognitive impairment and found more than half have had obstructive sleep apnea. Those with the sleep disorder also tested lower on thinking and memory tests. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Good looking start to the month of March. Sunny skies and highs up into the low 50s. Northeast breeze does make the wind chill just about 20 degrees this morning. Overnight, wind's going to shift though. Dip in from the south as we're back down right around the freezing mark. Looking pretty good though as we head into Tuesday. I want to point out that the precipitation that we do see on future track really stays down to the southeast of us. But should we get just a little northerly push for that Gulf moisture, we put a slight chance for rain in there. The majority of the 4 states stays dry, and you're really going to have to be in a very elevated area to see anything flip over and give you any type of a mix. 60s as we head into the weekend. All the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
The latest on efforts to restore natural gas in Carl Junction following a pipeline explosion. Plus, an Oklahoma power company paid nearly $1 billion for natural gas during the winter storms. Why customers may have to foot the bill, and what will be different about this year's memorial run a decade after the Joplin tornado.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. You can expect a mild Monday this week. Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look on your forecast.
Not looking too bad at all. Clear as can be. Just a little cloud cover trying to get into northeast Oklahoma right there, but the majority of the storm system that we'll check out here in just a little bit, staying to the deep southeastern portion of the United States. 29 in Joplin, 30 in Monette, 27 in Parsons. Factor in a little northeasterly breeze, and now we've got Independence dipping down to a wind chill of 19. 25 is what it feels like in Lamar, 24 in Neosho. The bus stop forecast will roll sunrise over Joplin at 6:49. Clear and sunny start. And that thunderstorm activity I was talking about, yeah, we can isolate that down to the deep south right there. But it's impressive in scope and nature, lasting from New Mexico and then wrapping northeast all the way up to the Maine border. Weather trend for the 4 states, you can't not beat that. Low 50s, plenty of sunshine, right on par for where we'd normally be this time of year. 7-day forecast. We keep the chances for rain on Tuesday very, very light. Don't be deceived when you see the old mix right there. Certainly you're not going to have anything widespread, and you're going to have to get into some upper elevations to see anything flip over. And really, for the most part right now, Tanya, all that moisture really wants to stay down to the southeast of us. We're just watching it trend a little bit to the north. That's why we keep a slight chance in there. Yeah. Everybody else going to stay dry. Don't worry about it.
Just keeping an eye on things.
Right. That's all it is.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, officials with Spire say they've reconnected natural gas to a majority of homes in Carl Junction. The energy company posted door hangers with next steps for customers they were unable to reach. Shutdown comes after firefighters say a gas line exploded on the south side of Carl Junction during what Spire says was a pipeline inspection process. One worker was injured in the incident. An Oklahoma power company paid more for fuel during the winter storm than they did all through last year. The average annual power cost for Oklahoma Gas and Electric is around $600 million, but the price to keep Oklahomans warm last week was nearly $1 billion. Southwest Power Pool, who manages the state's power grid, says most of that cost stemmed from not having enough natural gas. That extra cost will likely be passed on to consumers. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission is also looking into a proposal from OG&E to spread out recovery costs over the course of 10 years. If approved, officials say it would keep fuel cost-related increases to less than 10% for an average residential customer's bill. The state of Missouri will have to pay $140,000 after a failed bid to shut down the state's lone abortion provider. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports a request by Planned Parenthood for legal fees, as well as $6,600 spent on an expert witness approved. Back in October of 2019, a 4-day trial highlighted the state's efforts to close the facility by denying it a license to operate based on allegations it had botched abortions. A bar in Webb City is taking new precautions to keep their patrons safe from COVID-19. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with the owner of the Longhorn Bar and Grill and the owner of Envirotex to see how they were working together to create a cleaner space.
Roberta Riley is like many working in bars and restaurants trying to stay open and safe during the pandemic. This involves a lot of sanitizing and cleaning. She says it's all to keep her customers healthy, especially those more at risk.
We want to keep this as safe as we can here. We have a lot of elderly people that come in, and we're all one big happy family. If we lost anyone, it would just be devastating.
She wanted to make sure that the Longhorn would be safe for everyone, which is why the bar enlisted the help of Envirotex, a fogging service. Todd Stoltz, an owner of Envirotex, says fogging is a way to disinfect surfaces.
It's taking liquid and breaking it up into tiny, smaller particles, just very fine, and it gets in places where normal cleaning can't.
Riley says not only is it more convenient, but more sanitary as well.
It's easier to clean. It maybe gets places that we aren't able to get to.
She says that because the bar is located along Route 66, people from all over the country are always coming through.
We know who's in and out of here. And quite frankly, if you are tested positive with COVID, you're not maybe going to remember, hey, I was in a little bar in Webb City, to notify us.
Riley adds that it reassures customers that the bar sees their health as a priority.
It definitely gives people a sense of we are trying to do something to help get back to some sort of normalcy.
Stoltz says returning to normalcy is the main reason he does his job.
I want things to be normal. I want people to be able to go out. I don't want to go back inside the house.
The bar will be cleaned bi-weekly to keep the establishment as safe as possible. In Webb City, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Joplin Sports Authority Board announces they're searching for a new executive director. The announcement came Saturday morning after the board made the decision to replace current executive director Craig Hull. We reached out to board president Roger Doman for more information, but our requests for comment were not returned. And that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, an ancient chariot discovered during an excavation in Pompeii. And our own Jesse Irwin learns how to make a paper parachute with Pittsco.
That's right. Well, Pittsco is celebrating its 50th anniversary this week, so we stopped by there to learn how to do some STEM activities at home. We've got that for you coming up.
Sunny skies and temps up in the high 40s, low 50s for this afternoon. Perfect start to March. No worry about anything really hitting us for the duration of the week till we get to the latter half right there. As Future Track will show you, we remain clear. Back down around freezing here later tonight into Tuesday morning. I went ahead and made a change to the old 7-day forecast. Let's just go ahead and keep everything down to the southeast. I can't, with the way it's trending right now, it just keeps on headed toward the Gulf. So I don't even think it's going to flip over for us. 60s middle of the week, then we get some rain on Friday, but still looking at a delightful weekend with temps up into the high 50s and low 60s. We'll be back. Let's do a World Watch right after this.
Today I made some
World Watch, Britain's Queen Elizabeth is urging people to get vaccinated against COVID-19. CBS's Ian Lee is in London with more on the rare royal request.
As millions of people roll up their sleeves during the pandemic, some are opting to keep them down.
Been very surprised by how
Queen Elizabeth isn't having it.
they ought to think about other people rather than themselves.
In a Zoom call with doctors this week, the British monarch stopped short of a royal decree, issuing, let's call it, a strong suggestion.
Well, once you've had the vaccine, you have a feeling of, you're protected, which is, I think, very important.
There's no one more high profile than the Queen to help UK health officials promote vaccinations, and palace officials say it was Her Majesty's idea.
It was a rare intervention. It's a very important intervention. But what she said on this call was effectively everyone should get the coronavirus vaccine. And if you don't, you're being selfish.
This is the first time we've seen the Queen since her husband, Prince Philip, was hospitalized more than a week ago for a condition not related to COVID. Palace officials say he is recovering from an infection. The 99-year-old royal received his COVID vaccine last month, along with the 94-year-old Queen.
And as far as I can make out, it was quite harmless.
And the quickest way, health experts say, to end the pandemic. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
The Queen's son, Prince Charles, and grandson, Prince William, have also been out at vaccination centers recently promoting protection against the virus. Italy's Mount Etna, Europe's tallest active volcano, erupted on Sunday morning, spewing black volcanic ash into the sky above Catania. Ash and rock fragments covered roads and buildings in the nearby towns of Fornazo and Santa Verina, where residents used brooms to sweep the volcanic ash onto the streets. Southeastern crater is at the epicenter of the activity that started on February 16th and has lit up the volcano 7 times in the past days. Late last Wednesday, Etna lit up the night sky with explosions, lava fountains, and ash plumes. The last major eruption was in 1992. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station ventured outside the orbiting outpost to handle a little prep work on Sunday. NASA astronauts Kate Rubins and Victor Glover started installing support frames for the solar panels scheduled to arrive at the ISS later this year. Their spacewalk is expected to last more than 6 hours. According to NASA, the 6 new solar panels are supposed to increase the station's power by 30%. First pair of panels are expected to lift off for the ISS in June. Archaeologists discover an ancient chariot almost intact during an excavation in Pompeii. It has 4 wheels and has been described as finely decorated with bronze embellishments and mineralized wood. Scientists found the chariot beyond the walls of the ancient city in front of a stable where the remains of 3 horses were dug up 3 years ago. Miraculously, the chariot was not destroyed when the stable in which it was stored collapsed during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. Wow. Well, that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. First time ever, the Golden Globes, 78th annual Golden Globes, went virtual for the ceremony. The picturesque Nomadland took the prize for Best Motion Picture Drama. And also, too, that's where Chloe Zhao won her Golden Globe for Director of the Year. Also, first woman in nearly 40 years to win that category. Our question to you is, do you watch award shows? And what are some of the best movies or shows that you do watch? James Cole, Best Movie Spaceballs, Best TV Series This Old House, and of course the best news show, the KOAM Morning News. James, you are too kind, sir. Roy Mercer, hands down the Andy Griffith Show. And Roy says he also listened to some CDs of a guy who prank calls people with crazy story, demands money, or says someone's going to get a whooping. I'm going to have to check that out, Roy. By the way, Roy, how big a boy are you? Guy Hansen says the revolution's been televised. Do not attempt to resist. Further instructions will follow. Rocky Cunningham goes with Blue Bloods, The Resident, and 911. KOM Morning News. You're too kind as well, Rocky. Love you, Aunt Pat. And Dave Pitts Sr. It's so worth a watch. Just make sure that the kids aren't around while you're watching. But you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh. As a matter of fact, I was watching with somebody and we ended up crying. Tears of comedy. Sacha Baron Cohen, by the way, he not only won Best Comedy Film, but also Best Actor in a Comedy Film for that one right there. Thank you, Dave. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page, do you pay attention to award shows? I'm kind of with you on this one. 84% of you say no, only 5% say yes. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Americans are expected to begin receiving the nation's first single-shot COVID-19 vaccine this week. Johnson & Johnson vaccine joins Pfizer and Moderna shots in the nation's war against pandemic. Only 4 million doses of the J&J vaccine have been made, but the company projects 20 million doses should be available by the end of this month. Officials with Spire say they've reconnected natural gas to a majority of homes in Carl Junction. The energy company posted door hangers with next steps for customers they were unable to reach. The shutdown comes after firefighters say a gas line exploded on the south side of Carl Junction during what Spire says was a pipeline inspection process. One worker was injured in the incident. An Oklahoma power company paid more for fuel during the winter storm than they did all through last year. The average annual power cost for Oklahoma Gas and Electric is around $600 million, but the price to keep Oklahomans warm last week was nearly $1 billion. That extra cost will likely be passed on to consumers. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission is also looking into a proposal from OG&E to spread out recovery costs over the course of 10 years. If approved, officials say it would keep fuel cost-related increases to less than 10% for an average residential customer's bill. May 22nd will mark 10 years since a violent tornado tore a path through the heart of the city of Joplin. This year, organizers of the Joplin Memorial Run wanted to offer a course preview. There will be some changes due to the construction of the new Harry M. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Organizers have changed the starting point of the race to Cunningham Park. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
A little chilly on this first day of March, anywhere from high 20s right to the freezing mark. We'll have sunrise at 6:49. Then we begin our warm-up. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful Monday afternoon. We'll go low 50s. And even with the northeasterly breeze, can't slow us down from getting close to really where we would be to begin the third month of the year. Now look at these temperatures middle of the week. We're going to be all the way up into the 60s. That's because overnight our wind is going to shift, work in from the south, and give us a nice warming trend out of the south-southwest. Friday is our next shot for rain, but after it's done, looking at a Saturday and Sunday that can't be beat as well. And of course, you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Your premier.
Well, Pittsco Education in Pittsburgh is celebrating its 50th anniversary this week, and the hands-on learning company has come a long way since its founding in 1971. We stopped by there to learn some of their STEM Anywhere activities that they've got, including one that helps you make your own parachute. This morning we're here at Pittsco and we're hanging out with Alan and Lucas, and all right, we've learned how to do all sorts of things, but right now we are talking about a shape called a gore?
Yes.
What is that?
It's mostly just a triangle, but with a flat top.
And why are we learning about a gore?
It's one way to make an easy parachute.
A parachute, okay. All right, let's see a parachute made. How do you do it?
So what you do first, put this right here, and then you just tape them on the bottom and the top. And then you cut it out. You don't cut the inside lines, you just cut the outsides. And then once you're done with this, you will grab tape, glue, or glue stick, whatever that's good for sticking. Then when you're done, you might have a little top where you cut off.
And that's what makes the gore shape.
Yes.
Cool.
And then you flip it over, you take all of these off, and then you can use tape to just make around and around.
Now, why does having layers to the parachute work more effectively than just cutting out a circle?
Mostly because it gets a umbrella form, because if you have a circle, it just doesn't go down, so it doesn't catch any air, it just floats and then go down very slowly. But for a parachute, it would work differently. It would stack up and then float down the right way.
What are the pieces that we are using? So we have tissue paper, we have the gore shape.
Yeah.
What other ingredients are there?
If you want to, you can use a clear ruler or any type of ruler if you want to make it more geometric.
Uh-huh.
And more shapes, or just to make it even or something.
Nice.
We also use string, so you and so then it floats down.
Cool. And what are we tying to it?
What we're tying to it is paper clips, any type of weight. You can use clay, you can use
a penny.
You can use any type of coin, anything that's kind of heavy as a paper clip. So if you have extra, which you might do, then you can put something to cover the hole if you do have a hole.
Okay.
If not, then you
cut a circle. It's hard to cut tissue paper. That, frankly, that's pretty accurate considering.
There.
Nice. All right, so we have our parachute cover.
Yeah.
Now what do we do?
Now, basically what we do is we attach string to it.
And where are we attaching the string?
We take a piece off and then we attach it to the sides. You have to have it at the very tip so you have much line to use.
Okay, so every other interval.
Yeah. And then when you're done, you take all the string and then you lift it up, and then you take all the string down.
It's hard.
It's better doing it this way.
There you go.
And then you grab whatever weight you need.
So you're combining the paperclip with the clay to create this weight at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just gives the clay something to hang on to.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, you open it up, and then you have a perfect parachute.
You want to go outside and try this thing out?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. We'll have the full instructions and other activities on our morning show page this morning at KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be right back after this.
Temperature is going to be up into the 50s later on today. Absolutely delightful beginning to March. Thought this was interesting. I want to go to our daily almanac for our first day of March and check out our precipitation for the beginning of the year. So since January 1, 4.36 inches. The historical norm would be 4.35. Right on par, off by 1/100th of an inch compared to the 6 inches that we were already at in the year 2020.
The latest on efforts to restore natural gas in Carl Junction following a pipeline explosion. Plus, an Oklahoma power company paid nearly $1 billion for natural gas during the winter storms, why customers may have to foot the bill, and what will be different about this year's memorial run a decade after the Joplin tornado.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. You can expect a sunny day with a high and very mild temperatures. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
You can expect to get spoiled this first full week of March. It's going to be great outside. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly right now as temperatures range from the high 20s into low 30s, but the Skywatch Storm Tracker absolutely clear as can be. Now the north breeze does put a little chill in the air. We see some 21s for wind chills. As far as Nevada and Yates Center, throw Stockton in there as well. Gets a little bit better as you move to the south. 6:49 is going to be our sunrise over Joplin on the bus stop forecast. Northeasterly breeze, but look at all that thunderstorm activity. We're going to kick that down, keep that in the southeastern portion of the United States. And what that means for us is a fresh air forecast with afternoon highs into the low 50s and a whole bunch of sunshine. And Future Track is going to keep all our precipitation, even for Monday night and into Tuesday, down to the deep southeast. So we had a little amendment to the 7-day forecast, and that's the fact that we're just going to roll cool on Tuesday. I don't think it's going to be able to push far north enough to even affect us, and then 60s by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, officials with Spire say they've reconnected natural gas to a majority of homes in Carl Junction. The energy company posted door hangers with next steps for customers they were unable to reach. The shutdown comes after firefighters say a gas line exploded on the south side of Carl Junction during what Spire says was a pipeline inspection process. One worker was injured in the incident. An Oklahoma power company paid more for fuel during the winter storm than they did all through last year. The average annual power cost for Oklahoma Gas and Electric is around $600 million, but the price to keep Oklahomans warm last week was nearly $1 billion. Southwest Power Pool, who manages the state's power grid, says most of that cost stemmed from not having enough natural gas.
I know there's going to be an investigation. FERC has already, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has already expressed an interest and an intent to investigate all aspects of this, including fuel supply and the cost of gas.
On to consumers, the Oklahoma Corporation Commission is also looking into a proposal from OG&E to spread out recovery costs over the course of 10 years. If approved, officials say it would keep fuel cost related increases to less than 10% for an average residential customer's bill. State of Missouri will have to pay $140,000 after a failed bid to shut down the state's lone abortion provider. St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports a request by Planned Parenthood for legal fees, as well as $6,600 spent on an expert witness approved. Back in October of 2019, a 4-day trial highlighted the state's efforts to close the facility by denying it a license to operate based on allegations it had botched abortions. One bar in Webb City is taking new precautions to keep its patrons safe from COVID-19. They chose to use a method called fogging, which breaks liquid down into smaller particles, disinfecting harder to reach places. We spoke with the manager, Roberta Riley, on why she chose to use this cleaning method to disinfect the Longhorn.
And it makes everybody feel more comfortable. It's a electromagnetic fog that they use, and so it goes everywhere, places that we can't. We're proactive on cleaning, but there's lots of places we can't reach.
The bar will be cleaned bi-weekly to keep the establishment as safe as possible. Downtown Joplin Alliance is gearing up to clean up downtown Joplin, and they need your help. The 2021 Downtown Clean Team will be heading out to beautify the downtown area on Tuesday, March 2nd. DJA is only asking for an hour of your time to help keep downtown looking nice. For more information, you can check out this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. As we approach the 10-year mark since the deadly Joplin tornado, some are already planning ahead to commemorate the anniversary. May 22nd, 2021 will mark 10 years since the violent EF5 tornado tore a path through the heart of the city. Different events have marked the anniversary over the years. One of those, the Joplin Memorial Run. This year, organizers wanted to offer a course preview for the upcoming run. While the run was postponed last year due to the coronavirus, the course followed the same path it has for 9 years. This year, due to the construction of the new Harry M. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, organizers have had to change the starting point of the race to Cunningham Park.
I think a lot of people want to commemorate the anniversary of the tornado and just the lives that were lost, and then the way the city came together afterwards. So it's something that a lot of us do just to honor the people that died in the tornado.
There are several stages to the run, the first of which will start at 6:30 a.m. at Cunningham Park on Saturday, May 22nd. NFL star Patrick Mahomes lends a helping hand to the Lone Star State. The Kansas City quarterback's namesake foundation is donating 30,000 meals to a pair of events held by the East Texas Food Bank. Mahomes is a native of White House, Texas. The chief executive officer of the food bank says Mahomes is worried about how his hometown is coping with the aftermath of the recent winter storm that blasted through Texas. 6:07.
55th best college quarterback since the year 2000. Don't argue with me, folks. That's Bill Connolly's rankings. I just heard it this weekend. It was a great little piece that he did. It was very interesting. All right, so we've got temperatures right now ranging from mid-20s to low 30s. Wait till the afternoon sunshine kicks in, and we'll be all the way up into the 50s. Just a little northeasterly breeze, only 5 to 10 miles per hour. Do watch. Our humidity is going to rapidly drop in northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas, so a little bit of an elevated fire risk, but not too bad. 7-day forecast. We not only have 50s for today and tomorrow, why don't we roll 60s on Wednesday and Thursday for our first week of March?
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a third vaccine.
Johnson & Johnson's newly approved one-shot COVID vaccine is shipping out today. I'm Deborah Alfarone with what this now third vaccine means for our fight against the coronavirus.
Plus, an Amazon shopping spree lands a little girl in some hot water, and now her family is trying to use this as a teachable moment. And our own Jesse Irwin previews how Joplin Parks and Rec is preparing for the spring season.
Joplin Parks and Rec is ready in ways they never imagined they'd be. We learn how they're gearing up for 2021 coming up. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
In Money Watch this morning, a cautionary tale for grown-ups who sometimes let the kids play with their phone or tablet. Little girl wound up in a great deal of trouble after spending $3,000 on her grandparents' Amazon account. Naomi Ruckham has more on her shopping spree and the lessons her family hopes to share.
Leah Grabowski is awfully smart for a 7-year-old.
Leah's pretty quiet, but evidently very mischievous, right, Leah? So she is a leader of the pack. So she is the one who always comes up with different ideas.
She recently had one of those brilliant ideas while using her grandparents' iPad.
Evidently, Leah got bored with kids' YouTube and decided to go on a shopping spree on her Amazon account.
Leah's grandfather told her she could choose a gift worth $20, but within about 15 minutes, Leah had picked out 80 different items, racking up a $3,200 bill. The second grader had to admit to her parents what she'd done.
Smartwatches,
walkie-talkies.
While she bought toys for herself, Leah also got some gifts for her cousins, and she ordered 2 refrigerators for her grandparents on accident.
In the afternoon, some of the boxes came, and then the next day, even more boxes came, and the next day, even more boxes came.
They were able to cancel a few shipments before they arrived, but the rest had to be returned, and Leah's grandparents are still waiting to get all of their money back.
Well, clearly Leah's a very smart girl, but did you ever imagine she could take it this far?
No, never. Not in our wildest dreams. You have to start much sooner than 7 explaining to children that money doesn't grow on a tree.
As a consequence, Leah lost her screen time privileges.
Leah, did you learn your lesson?
Yes.
A lesson learned the hard way. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
As another consequence for her shopping spree, Leah had to spend her holiday money on a gift for her class. Her parents and grandparents say they wanted the second grader to fully understand her actions. Warren Buffett is betting on America. In a letter to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders, the billionaire is encouraging investors to keep their faith in the country's economy. Buffett's 15-page letter made little mention of the coronavirus and did not discuss the current political landscape. 90-year-old so-called Oracle of Omaha said he has no plans to retire. Member of the Ford family is putting his own Ford cars up for auction. Edsel B. Ford II, the great-grandson of founder Henry Ford, is selling 2 cars to the highest bidders, 1947 Super Deluxe Woody wagon and a 1958 Edsel Bermuda wagon. The 2 classic automobiles will be auctioned off later this month. World is not enough, but maybe $1,000 is. Nerd Bear is offering one lucky 007 fan a $1,000 Amazon gift card to watch all 24 James Bond films ahead of the release of the newest one, No Time to Die, in October. You'll use your golden eye to watch the 24 films within 30 days, starting with the first Bond movie, Dr. No. If you're chosen, you'll get a $100 Amazon gift card to rent all the movies on Amazon Prime. While you watch, you must journal details and keep social media fans up to date on your progress. After you're done with all the movies, you get the grand prize plus a $50 AMC gift card to watch No Time to Die. Apply now at nerdbear.com. Man, I wish I had the time to do that. I love the Bond movies. That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Let's roll a little weather at just about 6:17, and what a gorgeous start we have outside of Television City to begin our month of March. Just a little light cloud cover hanging down there to the southeast. Wanted to point out the weather almanac. This first day of March indicates the beginning of what we call meteorological spring. Now, astronomical spring doesn't start until the spring equinox. We got about 21 days before we hit that, but just from a record-keeping point of view, we go from March, April, and May to indicate spring. And so as we put the wraps on our precipitation since January 1, this is very interesting. 4.36 inches of precipitation since the beginning of the year. Historically speaking, 4.35 is where we'd normally be, off by 1/100th of an inch. Now, this time last year, 2020, we were actually sitting in excess of 6 inches. But of course, that was a little bit historically wet last year. 27 in Lamar, let's roll 32 in Miami, 26 is what we see in Chanute. Now, when we factor in the wind, point out that low pressure system sitting right out there on the Oklahoma-Kansas border where we see our swirls. Starting to die down up to the north a little bit, still getting almost 20-mile-per-hour gusts at Joplin and Grove. And so we have seen our wind chills kind of dip down into the low 20s up there to the north, Nevada, Stockton, Yates Center, all sitting at 21. Everybody else, though, able to rebound up into the high 20s. Bus stop forecast, sunrise will be at 6:49 for the kiddos, almost up to 40 degrees by the time we get to the 9 a.m. hour, and a clean Skywatch storm tracker. Don't have to worry about precipitation here for the next several days, as everything will really stay down to the southeast. Good thunderstorm activity there with the Gulf moisture working right along that warming trend. And look at that, it lasts from New Mexico, wraps through Arklatex, makes its way all the way up to New England. So geographically speaking, that is a rather impressive big high pressure system hanging over it, and that's what we're the recipients of for the next several days as we have clear skies and a whole lot of sunshine. Overnight, our wind begins to shift, actually going to make it in from the south. And even though we fall down around the freezing mark, all that, see, it just had to go right there. It was just a little sliver. And as we progress through our Monday into Tuesday, I actually went ahead and changed the 7-day forecast just a little bit and got rid of our rain chances for Tuesday, because really the high pressure is going to force everything down to the southeast for us. And give you an idea just from a national perspective, it looked like earlier this weekend it was trying to push a little bit to the north, but now it looks like it's just going to hang down there around the coast. So back-to-back days in the 50s, then we're going to make it up into the 60s by the middle of the week. Next shot for legitimate rain going to be on Friday, and then a Saturday and Sunday in the high 50s, if not 60s. Now, as warmer weather slides our way for the beginning of March, parks and recreation departments around the 4 states prepare for outdoor programming to get back in full swing. Let's check out the latest with our own Jesse Irwin.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, well, things are looking great so far. For Joplin specifically, we've got soccer and t-ball registration open. The department's already recruiting lifeguards, and they're working out the details of camps for this summer. And while last year threw all sorts of obstacles at Joplin's Parks and Rec department, they're using what they've learned to gear up for spring and summer 2021. And that also means they're continuing to implement many of the things that worked well.
We're still keeping a lot of precautions that we had last year in the forefront of our minds, and or using them for the activities that we're doing.
Yeah, well, a great example are the recreation kits that they've been making available to the community. Available on the first day of each month, each bag comes with supplies for all sorts of at-home activities. And they originally started as just a one-time thing back in the fall, just as a fun way to break up the weekend with a friend or family member's help. But kids liked them so much that they decided to keep it going. Now, all you have to do to get one is register either over the phone or online. And with today being the first of the month, they're being given out to anybody who registered beforehand. But if you didn't get one, do not worry. Just give the department a call, and if there are any still available, they will be happy to make sure that you get one too. We'll have that info on our website. We'll be right back on the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, more than 49 million Americans have already gotten at least one shot of the Moderna or Pfizer vaccines. Starting this week, the one-dose inoculations from Johnson & Johnson will be available. CBS's Deborah Alfarone is in Washington with why health experts say Americans should jump at the chance to take any vaccine they can.
Nearly 4 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will start shipping out this morning.
So this is a much easier logistical vaccine to administer.
It's the third coronavirus vaccine to receive an emergency use authorization from the FDA, the first that requires only one shot.
A really impressive vaccine because it is refrigerated, not frozen. So I'm very enthusiastic about this vaccine, and I truly believe whichever vaccine you can get first, take it.
While the efficacy rate to prevent getting sick from COVID-19 isn't as high as Pfizer or Moderna, trial data shows J&J is 100% effective at preventing hospitalizations and deaths.
I will take the first one that is offered to me. I want that protection as soon as possible.
Johnson & Johnson projects 20 million doses will be available by the end of this month and 100 million by the end of June.
We're going to get tens of thousands of additional vaccines per week, per state. It's just going to get us to the finish line that much faster.
Pfizer and Moderna have promised 600 million doses by the summer, meaning every American who wants a vaccine should then be able to get one.
And we're not done yet. There are at least 2 or 3 other vaccines that are in trials right now.
Among them, vaccines from Novavax and AstraZeneca, which are finishing U.S. trials before submitting applications to the FDA. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News.
The AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine has proven successful against the variant first discovered in the United Kingdom. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine has also been shown to be effective against other variants in its trial. FDA is renewing its earlier warning about hand sanitizers sold in packaging that looks like food or drink. FDA has found sanitizer packaged in beer cans, vodka bottles, and more alarmingly, children's food pouches and juice bottles. One product even featured popular characters from Paw Patrol and Minions. Ingesting alcohol-based hand sanitizer can cause nausea or vomiting, but in children, ingesting even a small amount could cause low blood sugar or alcohol poisoning. While the agency originally made a public statement about the danger in August, poison control experts thought it was important to do it again. Doctors are now recommending women schedule their mammograms before receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. That's because the vaccine can stimulate a potent immune response, including swollen lymph nodes, which can look like breast cancer. For women who have already had the vaccine, the MD Anderson Cancer Center recommends waiting 4 to 6 weeks before getting a mammogram. Other vaccines, like the ones for influenza and HPV, can also trigger the same kind of immune response of swollen lymph nodes. Doctors do not want to discourage women from getting mammograms, only to make them aware of possible scheduling issues with the COVID vaccine. Most breast specialists know about the problem when reading mammograms after a patient has been vaccinated. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention posted new COVID-19 prevention guidance Friday for schools and daycares. Its top recommendation: open doors and windows in classrooms and on transportation vehicles. On a newly posted webpage, the CDC said cracking open windows and doors helps increase outdoor airflow, reducing how much virus could be in the air. The agency advised the use of child-safe fans to increase the effectiveness of open windows and having activities, classes, or lunches outdoors. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems are also addressed in the new guidance. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
I like the shot of that one teacher standing by the front door right there, pointing at that kid, saying, "Get in there. We got to learn today. Get inside." I'll do it on camera. That's cool. Temperature's a little chilly to open up the windows, whether it be the bus or the school so far. But by the time we get into the afternoon, going to be absolutely delightful. We're looking at everything ranging right now from the mid-20s all the way up to the low 30s. Feels about like mid-20s everywhere with a little northeasterly breeze rolling in. Sunrise at 6:49, going to be an absolutely beautiful beginning to our month of March. Hard to believe we're already turning the calendar. And as you can see, our average high and low for this time of year, 55, 33. We'll be right on par for that. It's crazy. Not only are our temperatures line up, but our precipitation since January 1 lines up perfectly with our historical norms. As we get into the 7-day forecast, went ahead and lifted our rain chances for Tuesday. Looks like everything wants to push down to the southeast. Wednesday and Thursday, can't beat that, all the way up into the 60s. Next shot for some March rain, actually going to be Friday, a little bit more widespread. And then after it's done, a gorgeous weekend ahead. Rolling 60s on Saturday and Sunday with a whole bunch of sunshine as well. And of course, you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
The latest on efforts to restore natural gas in Carl Junction following a pipeline explosion. Plus, an Oklahoma power company paid nearly $1 billion for natural gas during the winter storms. Why customers may have to foot the bill, and what will be different about this year's memorial run a decade after the Joplin tornado.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. You can expect a sunny day with highs and with very mild temperatures. That's what we'll say, mild temperatures. Michael Hayslip joins us with first look at your forecast.
All right, hey, I'm telling you one thing I pointed out on the 7-day forecast is we've got a change that I want to put on Tuesday because the only reason I didn't put on it earlier is we're going to talk a lot about it tomorrow, but I figure this would be a good chance for the 6 o'clock hour. Statewide tornado drills tomorrow and for National Preparedness Week, and we'll have those in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. It's going to be at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Key factor being Tuesday is going to be a good day to do it because we're going to have partly sunny skies and no worry of severe weather there as we get ready to prepare ourselves for spring, with March 1 being meteorological spring. Our temperatures right now range in the mid-20s to low 30s. We don't have any worries. Clean Skywatch storm tracker, and we're going to get plenty of sunshine today and be able to work our way into the 50s. So once again, nice start to the month of March. Remember, tomorrow, 10 a.m., no reason to worry, but this just keeps everybody on their toes as we head into spring. Statewide tornado drills, 10 a.m. on Tuesday.
Those. All right, thanks, Michael. Officials with Spire say they've reconnected natural gas to a majority of homes in Carl Junction. The energy company posted door hangers with next steps for customers they were unable to reach. Shutdown comes after firefighters say a gas line exploded on the south side of Carl Junction during what Spire says was a pipeline inspection process. One worker was injured in the incident. An Oklahoma power company paid more for fuel during the winter storm than they did all through last year. The average annual power cost for Oklahoma Gas and Electric is around $600 million, but the price to keep Oklahomans warm last week was nearly $1 billion. Southwest Power Pool, who manages the state's power grid, says most of that cost stemmed from not having enough natural gas. That extra cost will be likely passed on to consumers. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission is also looking into a proposal from OG&E to spread out recovery costs over the course of 10 years. If approved, officials say it would keep fuel cost-related increases to less than 10% for an average residential customer's bill. State of Missouri will have to pay $140,000 after a failed bid to shut down the state's lone abortion provider. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports a request by Planned Parenthood for legal fees, as well as $6,600 spent on an expert witness approved. Back in October of 2019, a 4-day trial highlighted the state's efforts to close the facility by denying it a license to operate based on allegations it had botched abortions. Another story about the horrible toll on the pandemic is taking on our communities. In Missouri's South St. Louis County, an 11-year-old girl made the grim discovery that both of her parents died in their bed from COVID-19. Robert Townsend has details.
So it's really a terrible, tragic thing.
Chuck Dewey cannot believe what happened to his neighbor. St. Louis County Police say last Thursday morning, the husband and wife were found dead in their bed. Police say both were in their 40s and both died of COVID-19.
Supposedly she had gone to the hospital. They thought she had a stroke, but I guess maybe it was due to the COVID.
Dewey says he spoke with a family member of the couple.
She tested positive, but they sent her home, and then her husband, meanwhile, was home with a positive test for COVID. And so they both were quarantined.
Dewey says the couple stayed downstairs in their bedroom in their basement. Neighbors also say the couple's 11-year-old daughter, their only child, made the tragic discovery.
To lose both parents at one time, you know, for an 11-year-old, it's, you know, really tragic. When we're praying for them, they're the nicest people, and we were so happy they moved into the neighborhood.
St. Louis police say there is no reason to believe any foul play was involved. It appears that both deaths were due to the coronavirus. Joplin Sports Authority Board announces they're searching for a new executive director. The announcement came Saturday morning after the board made the decision to replace current executive director Craig Hull. We reached out to board president Roger Domain for information, but our requests for comment were not returned. Local restaurant owners are giving back to those in need, and Carmen's Apples and More in Joplin is one of them. Owner says that restaurant came up with a Pay What You Can Day that occurs every Saturday. They also have a giving tree on their wall, and both of these gestures are there to give back to the four-state community.
We've always just wanted to give back to the community any way we can. We've both been born and raised right here in Joplin, and always felt that we were drawn to do something. And with 3 little boys, we want to teach them it's not about what you have unless you do something with it.
Boggs says he would rather pay it forward than just keep things for himself. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a call for resignation.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is under fire after a second woman accuses him of sexual harassment. I'm Deborah Alfarone with the Democrats' apology amidst calls for him to resign.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, we're asking what are the best movies or TV shows you've ever watched this year? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
Now, before we get to your comments on Facebook and our Insta poll, let's run through our daily planner as our temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 50s later on this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine overnight, dropping back down around the freezing mark, but our wind is going to shift as well and work in from the south, and so that will actually end up feeding us warmer midweek temperatures. Delightful beginning to March. How about 60s on the board for Wednesday and Thursday? Next shot for rain is going to be on Friday. It sets us up for what's going to be a gorgeous weekend. Saturday and Sunday up close to 60s. Remember that Tuesday panel. We've got statewide tornado drills that'll transpire at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and that will be for Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas. We'll be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, there are growing calls for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to resign after a second woman accuses him of sexual harassment. Deborah Alfarone has the latest, including the governor's response to these allegations.
A 25-year-old former executive assistant to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is now the second woman coming forward claiming he sexually harassed her. Charlotte Bennett tells the New York Times last spring Cuomo asked her numerous questions about her personal life, including whether she thought age made a difference in romantic relationships, and had said that he was open to relationships with women in their 20s. Comments she interpreted as clear overtures to a sexual relationship. Yesterday, the governor apologized for his actions in a statement writing, "At work, sometimes I think I am being playful and make jokes that I think are funny. I acknowledge some of the things I have said have been misinterpreted as an unwanted flirtation. To the extent anyone felt that way, I am truly sorry about that." Cuomo has also denied allegations by another former aide, Lindsey Boylan, that he kissed her and asked her to play strip poker in 2017. The White House among those calling for an investigation.
There should be an independent review of these allegations. They're serious. It was hard to read that story as a woman, and that process should move forward as quickly as possible, and that's something we all support and the president supports.
State Attorney General Letitia James will lead an inquiry into the women's claims. She does so after denying the governor's request for a private investigator. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Allegations come as the governor is also facing a federal investigation following revelations that Governor Cuomo and his team withheld data about the true number of people that died from coronavirus in nursing homes. There's some hopeful news on COVID's front lines. The number of people in hospitals infected with the virus has fallen below 50,000 for the first time in nearly 4 months. And the rate of infection has slowed, but new variants remain a concern. Former President Trump threw out strong hints, but never came right out and said he's running for the White House again in 2024. He addressed the Conservative Political Action Conference in Orlando, Florida yesterday. President Trump, the former president, slammed President Biden's first month in office as, quote, the most disastrous of any president in modern history. That's it for today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Instapoll, 78th Golden Globes had to go virtual for its annual ceremony. The picturesque Nomadland taking prize for Best Motion Picture Drama, and director Chloe Zhao becoming the first woman in nearly 40 years to win that category. The late Chadwick Boseman awarded Best Actor in a Drama for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which was accepted by his wife. On the TV side, Schitt's Creek won Comedy Series, while The Crown, Tanya's favorite, reigned in Best Drama. Our question to you, we'll start with the Facebook page, favorite movie and shows that you watched this past year. And Chris Osgood Miller, he goes with Schitt's Creek. He says it's by far the best comedy I've watched. I also like All Rise on CBS. Chris says he's not a big TV watcher, but do like those two shows. Merle Bass says, what a joke you've become. Well, Merle, it's the beginning of March. I'm only getting started. Glenn Ritchie says, I only watch shows about pandemics and failed political coups. No awards there yet. William Beeching, he suggests The Blacklist on Netflix. Our own Will York, best movies he saw, Onward and Sonic Hedgehog. Best TV shows, Mandalorian, My Hero Academia, One Piece, Jurassic World, Cretaceous, and Animaniacs reboot on Hulu. As far as our Instapoll goes this morning, 84% of you say, no, I really don't even pay attention to award shows. Only 2% say, yeah, that you're invested in it. You still got a chance to make your voice heard. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be right back with birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Adam Beckman, who was a member of the United States Army. He served from 2003 to 2007 in Iraq. His hometown, Brazelton, Kansas. We are proud to salute Adam Beckman, our four-state hero.
The birthday list kicks off with a big smiling Millie Bickford. Look at that bow. Is that not delightful? Happy birthday, Millie. She celebrates the big #1 in Nevada.
All right, and we got David Phillips turning 11 years old. Looks like he's a little cat in a hat there in Girard.
Yeah.
Happy birthday coming from Katie, Dad, Grandma, and Grandpa.
We got happy birthday wishes from another grandma, as well as Lexi and Livy and Lizzie. Those all go to Olivia Black, because Olivia is celebrating her 14th birthday. Kiddo, have a great day. Olivia is in Humboldt.
All right. Zella Gamblin turning 48 years old this year. Zella is in Parsons. Happy birthday.
A milestone for Brian McKenzie as he reaches the big 5-0. Brian, I want you to have a marvelous 50th. He's in St. Paul.
All right, and Mr. Coy Chisholm celebrating birthday number 55 this year in Benedict, Kansas. Birthday was actually on Friday. Love from the grandkids.
A trip out to Jasper, Missouri is going to find the ever-joking Larry Harris celebrating his 65th birthday. Larry, absolutely great picture. I want you to have a marvelous day.
Turning 66 this year. It's time to celebrate for Carl Thornton. Carl is in Thayer, Kansas.
Debbie Schoenhofer, she is celebrating her 70th birthday. What a beautiful, colorful picture right there. Happy birthday to Debbie in St. Paul.
All right. Happy birthday, Debbie. And happy birthday wishes going out to Carla McKee Howerton. Carla is in Carthage.
Paul Yeager celebrating a birthday in Columbus. A happy birthday to you, Mr. Paul.
Kaylee Gorins Hobbs. Happy birthday to you.
Delina Wagner. She had a birthday over the weekend there. A happy birthday to Delina in Erie. Marvelous picture as well.
All right. Brittany Pendleton says here that Brittany is a stylist at Eclipse in Webb City. Happy birthday.
You running down to Eclipse today, you make sure you tell Brittany happy birthday and tell her happy birthday from us as well. Jennifer Heimer, she is celebrating a birthday in Fort Scott. Jennifer, a happy birthday to you, ma'am.
Sidna Small from Neodesha. Happy birthday to you. That picture was not taken, as I understand, in Neodesha. It was taken all the way in Alaska.
Cool pic. Love it, Sidna. Happy birthday. Morris Forsyth celebrating his 102nd birthday. I want everybody to pay attention to the poster there behind Mr. Forsyth. I shouldn't say poster. I should actually say what he has in his frame, because those are going to be patches, medals, and a picture of him from when he served our country, and he is one of our 4-state heroes as well. Mr. Morris, number one, thank you for your service, sir. Number two, a very happy birthday to you, and everybody in Altoona, reach out to Mr. Forsyth and give him those birthday wishes, please.
All right. Our list goes on with Risa Harvell turning 57.
We really don't know how old Risa is.
Oh yeah, she's one of those leap year babies. So may have counted it some years, maybe not.
Right.
Oh yeah, her birthday would have been somewhere between yesterday and today.
We got another one coming up as well. I'm gonna give her a hard time for not sending a picture. Risa, I give you a hard time as well.
Well,
Edna
next
Harvey.
Yeah.
Celebrating a 50th birthday. Edna, a happy birthday. She's in Miami as well. And Gary Beechner, he's celebrating a birthday in Parsons and in Arma. Happy birthday to Jerry Wayman.
Chris Palmer turns double nickels today in Crestline. Terry Hildebrand, happy birthday to you out in Chatopa.
Now, what's up with this one? Because she knows better. Come on, Francis. If I recall, I had to beg, borrow, and steal for a picture last year. This is getting to be habitual, and I think she does it because it's leap year. She's leap year, baby.
She only has to show it once every 4 years.
Famous last words. Happy birthday, Francis. Now, sharing a birthday, well, not sharing a birthday, but they're close enough. Steve Bacon, it happens to be Francis's older brother. So how cool is that? So Stephen, a very happy birthday to you. Let's cap this off with an anniversary. We're going to run down to Carl Junction right there because Dennis and Sue Eckhart, they're celebrating their married time together. Congratulations to Dennis and Sue in CJ. Now, happy birthday, happy anniversary to all, whether you're celebrating on this March the 1st or if you're one of those leap year babies, and then we try to figure out like how many you've actually celebrated. With that being said, here's Tanya Bott with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
roll a couple more comments here coming off the Golden Globes last night. Heather Miller says no one cares about pedophiles getting trophies. Rob Tucker says that moron Borat being celebrated with awards tells you everything you need to know about the state of our society. Roberta Tallman, KOAM News, you're too kind, Roberta. Anything on the ID channel and True Story Movies. And Robert Dopp says the best show he likes is NCIS. As far as our Insta poll goes, I don't think there were a whole lot of eyeballs on it because 86% of you said no, don't even pay attention to award shows. Only 4% of you say yeah, you actually are invested. Appreciate the engagement and appreciate everybody logging on and voting. Remember, we do it each and every morning. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Tanya?
All right, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Americans are expected to begin receiving the nation's first single-shot COVID-19 vaccine this week. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine joins the Pfizer and Moderna shots in the nation's war against the pandemic. Only 4 million doses of the J&J vaccine have been made. The company projects 20 million doses should be available by the end of this month. Officials with Spire say they've reconnected natural gas to a majority of homes in Carl Junction. The energy company posted door hangers with next steps for customers they were unable to reach. The shutdown comes after firefighters say a gas line exploded on the south side of Carl Junction during what Spire says was a pipeline inspection process. One worker was injured in the incident. An Oklahoma power company paid more for fuel during the winter storm than they did all through last year. The average annual power cost for Oklahoma Gas Electric is around $600 million, but the price to keep Oklahomans warm last week was nearly $1 billion. That extra cost will likely be passed on to consumers. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission is also looking into a proposal from OG&E to spread out recovery costs over the course of 10 years. If approved, officials say it would keep fuel cost-related increases to less than 10% for an average residential customer's bill. May 22nd will mark 10 years since a violent tornado tore a path through the heart of the city of Joplin. This year, organizers of the Joplin Memorial Run wanted to offer a course preview, but there will be some changes due to the construction of the new Harry M. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Organizers have changed the starting point of the race to Cunningham Park. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
What a gorgeous start to March. Live look outside of Television City. Is a little cool outside. Temperatures ranging from the mid-20s up into the low 30s. Sunshine, though, kicking in, and it's going to raise us up into the low 50s. A little northeasterly breeze all day long, but the wind shifts overnight, comes in from the south, feeds us warm midweek temperatures into the 60s. Remember, tomorrow, 10 a.m., statewide tornado drills for Preparedness Week. Those will take place in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making a chicken and veggie skillet in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM. We've got the CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
And we'll continue to roll our KOAM News Now Facebook pages or comments. And of course, still have time to vote on our Insta poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. I want everybody to have a great, safe, marvelous Monday and a 1st of March. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.